Hello everybody, Steven here with Cardboard Coalition, and today I figured I'd bring you a how to play of Infinity Gauntlet, a love letter game, or love letter Infinity Gauntlet, love letter Marvel Infinity Gauntlet. There's no concise consensus, not concise, and concise too, no consensus on the name, but love letter, the Marvel version, which is Infinity Gauntlet. So as you see here, we have a setup for a 6-player game. This game plays 2 to 6 players, so I thought it would just kind of be fun to set up 6-player. And yes, it's all kind of squished in a little bit, just angle. I can't, as usual, get the camera up high enough to give a bigger view to spread it out just a little. But let's go ahead and set up, or go through the setup before we go through the how to play. So first off, you have to choose who's going to be Thanos. So this player here, we can call it myself if you want, is going to be Thanos. Once you figure that out, you give each player a reference card, and I flipped it up for the Thanos side for all these players. So it tells you all the cards, so we can get to focus, there we go, all the cards that Thanos has. All right, and then on the other side is all the cards the heroes have, and it gives the card, it gives what the card does, the card number, what the card does, how many cards you can find in the deck. So you make sure everybody has a reference card. Once that's done, then you go ahead and you shuffle up the hero deck and you give each player 1 card. Then you shuffle up Thanos' deck and Thanos gets 2 cards. After that, you make sure you put the power-up tokens. I think they're called power-up tokens. I always keep forgetting the name of them. I'm looking really quick. Yeah, power tokens. Power-up tokens. Power tokens. Same thing, right? So you put all the power tokens out in the middle, which they're nice. They're nice little hefty plastic power tokens. All right, so you put those in the middle. Then you go ahead and set up the health board, which you have the hero side. And with the health board, you go ahead and put the hero's tracker all the way at the top. No matter how many players are playing, the hero tracker goes all the way to the top. Now, for Thanos' side, you put it at what the amount of players are. So I had it at 4, which is completely wrong. We have it set up for 6, so it'd go right here. If you see here, you have 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2. So we go ahead and we'll set that there at 6 because Thanos is going up against 6 players. Another quick thing about this is the setup is all on the back of this card. It gives you the entire setup. So you go ahead and get the health card figured out. And then the health tracker, I keep calling it the health card. And then you're ready to play. Play starts with Thanos and then goes around the table clockwise. Always starts with Thanos and then goes around the table clockwise. So what you do when it's your turn is you have your starting hand. If you're a hero, obviously you have 1 card, but as Thanos, you have 2, and you draw 1 card from the top. So you'll take 1 card from the top of the deck, giving you a total of 3 cards to start with. You choose one of these cards and you play it. You just choose the card and you lay it down. And the cards stay out, the cards that you play stay out so everybody can see. So once you play your card, then you do what the card tells you to do. So on here, it gives you a quick rundown on what the card says to do. And we'll go over the cards. This video should be really short, even with going over what each card does. So you put down the card, and then the other heroes react. This card specifically says you choose one of the players, and you guess a number. And if the card that's in their hand matches that number, then they have to say, we're just going to glance, oh, there's a 1 there too. Let's say I said 1. So I chose this player, I said 1. They look at their card, they have a 1. They put that card out, face up. And now it's common knowledge to the table. They go ahead and withdraw themselves another card if they lost the card, and then you move on. So once Thanos goes, then it's the next player's turn. So let's say Thanos goes and he guesses the wrong number. He says 5, picks this character, or this character picks this player, says 5. Player looks at their card, they don't show it to Thanos or anybody else, they just look at their card, and they go, nope. And then you just move on. This card stays out. Thanos has already played it. Now it's the first hero player's turn. You do the same thing. You draw up a card. So as a hero, you'll have 2 cards in your hand. You flip them over. You look at what you have, and then you choose to play one. Now this has a 1 or a 3. So either you could put the 3 down, or you could put the 1 down. Right, and same thing. So let's say they decide to put the 1 down like that, and then they say 5. Right? And so Thanos looks at his cards and looks to see if he has a 5. Thanos doesn't have a 5. So Thanos doesn't have to put a card down. He says, no. This player's turn done, goes to the next player, draw a card, play a card. So you just got to remember, draw a card, play a card, draw a card, play a card. Each card has specific actions. Now, we'll go through the actions of each card, and then we'll talk about a little bit how combat goes, because there is combat. In this case, you're just calling out a card number, right? And we'll talk about that when we go through all the hero cards and start playing them. So let's go ahead and set this one back. Oh, this is a random card, I think. Anyways, it's okay. So let's go ahead and go through the hero deck. And this time, I actually set it up. So I have it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when you look at the reference guide, you know that there are 6 different cards in the hero deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like I said, it tells you what they do, but you also over here have how many cards. So there's 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, 2 5s, and 2 6s. This is why it's good for Thanos to have this side up so he can look at the cards, and everybody else to have the Thanos side up so they can look at the cards. They can try to figure out how many cards Thanos has and how many cards he gets out there. So let's go through this. Let's start with the first card, and we'll flip it over. It should be a 1. There's a 1. So we talked about this card. And what a number 1 does for you and for Thanos, it does the same thing, unless it's Infinity Stone, but we'll get into that. So number 1 says, guess a number and defeat 1 card of that number in Thanos' hand. So now with this card, they don't pick a player. Thanos picks a player. With this card, I mean, this is a slight difference with Thanos. But with this card, you're always going after Thanos. All the heroes are always against Thanos. So if you're playing a 1 card, you're going to guess a card that Thanos has in his hand right here. And so yes, it does take some honesty, and players have to be honest. Do I have it? Do I not? That's what 1 does. I guess we can set him here. So then we have number 2, right? 1 was Spider-Man. 2, we have Black Widow. Remember, there's 3 of each card, or at least some of them. All right, so Black Widow, number 2 says, choose a teammate and to look at a card in Thanos' hand. So now what happens with number 2 is let's say it's first player again. They choose player number 2. They get a look at Thanos' hand and see what cards he has. And what Thanos does is he can shuffle it up. I mean, there's only 2 cards. He presents them where no one can see. Just that player, just player 2, takes a card without showing anybody else and looks at it, right? Looks at that card, hands it back to Thanos without anybody seeing it, and then they move on. So 2 is to pick a player, to look at a card, choose a teammate, to look at a card in Thanos' hand. It's a good way to try to communicate with players, right? So, number 3, this one's a Thor. So 3, you may fight Thanos. So what you would do, and we'll just take a break right now to talk about this. So what you would do with this card is, let's say player 2 has this card, and they play it, and they're going to fight Thanos. They look at the other card that they have in their hand. Oh, look, they have a 3. This is the card they're going to use to fight Thanos. So what happens is Thanos gets to choose one of his 2 cards, and he hands it to him blindly. So they play the 3. You don't know what player 2's card is. No one else does but player 2. Thanos hands him his card. Player 2 secretly looks at both the cards, and he gets the numbers. So obviously Thanos was played here, and then you have Hulk. So you look at these numbers up here. Hulk's a 3, Thanos is a 7, Hulk loses. What that player then would do is take their card, set it down because they lost the battle. Even though they chose to start the battle, they lost it. They give this card obviously back to the Thanos player. And then you go over here to the health tracker, and because the heroes took 1 hit, they move down 1 on the health tracker, right? And then you go on through play. So that's what 3 does. 3 allows you to fight with Thanos. Let's say one of Thanos. To fight Thanos. All right. Back to the cards and what they do. This still, like I said, should be pretty short. All right. Then we have 4, right? Give yourself or a teammate 1 power token. Now, these are the power tokens in the middle, right? And how the power tokens work, and if you can see, let's see if it focuses for me. There you go. Has that +2 in the middle, right? So there's the +2. So either the player who has the card, we can go back to player number 2, either decides to keep that +2 for themselves or hand it to someone else here at the table. Now, what this +2 does is if this player decides to fight Thanos, they have to use this +2. So let's go ahead and pretend like they were going to fight, right? Where's that fight card? They pulled out that fight card. And so they're going to use this card to fight, and they have a 6, right? They have a 6 plus the 2. They have a total of 8 points. So if they would have fought Thanos, and Thanos decided to hand them the Thanos card, right? Thanos would have lost, right? Because Thanos has 7. This player, no one else at the table knows this, but these 2 players. This player has 6 plus 2. They had to spend that. The same goes with Thanos. Anytime Thanos fights, if he has point markers or health markers, however you want to look at it, he has to spend them too. So they would have won, right? Because they had Iron Man at 6. Now, what happens when you defeat Thanos' card, right? You can't play Thanos, but if he's defeated, and it tells you down here, and we'll talk about when we get to Thanos, you shuffle him back into the Thanos deck. Well, what you do, first you pick up a card, and then you shuffle this card back in the deck. There's some things with Thanos that you have to do, and they're slight. So that's giving someone a power token. It was a power token. Giving someone a power token. All right. Then we have card number 5. This one, we have Vision. And card number 5 says, look at the top 3 cards of the hero deck, then put them back in any order. So you get to take the hero deck, you get to count the top 3, 1, 2, 3. You get to flip them over and look at them, see what you got. You're like, oh, a whole bunch of these give teammates tokens. That sounds pretty good. Maybe you want someone to look at a card that's in Thanos' hand, because you know Thanos has his own card in his hand. So maybe you shuffle them like that, or you mix them up like that, you set them back down. And that's it. That's how you play that card. All right. So the last card, card number 6, and we got Captain America, right? So, Captain Marvel. My bad. No one get too mad. Captain Marvel, you or a teammate may fight Thanos. So what this card is saying is you can fight Thanos, or another teammate can fight Thanos. One of the things I talk about when I played this with some friends is, remember that this card's 6 though. This is a really high card. It'll beat a lot of stuff out. But maybe if you need to, you throw this card down and say this player plays it. They play the card down. We can put it right there. And they go, okay, player number 3, fight Thanos. They're hoping that they have a good card to beat Thanos. So that's what the 6th card does. Now, let's go ahead and jump over here and look through the Thanos deck. Oh, I went too far. Do I go all the way through the Thanos deck? Ooh, I do. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into the Thanos deck. And I realized I set this one up completely backwards. Oh, I thought I did it right. There's what I'm looking for. Oh, it's because I drew that card. There we go. All right, we're going to go through the Thanos deck. We won't do the crazy reveal. We just have them like this. So let's go ahead. Actually, we'll do it this way. I'll show this one first. So Thanos is number 1. We have one right here too, right? So Thanos is number 1 is choose an opponent and guess a number. If they are holding that number, defeat that card. So it's the same as the number 1 here for the heroes, but Thanos decides what player he's going to go up against. Then you have the Infinity Stone. So if you look on here, it'll tell you. So there's 2 number 1s for Thanos. So we can get to focus. 2 number 1s for Thanos and the Infinity Stone. 1 number 2 and an Infinity Stone at 2, 3, all the way down. So there's technically all the way to 5. There's 2. 1 is 3. There's 1, 6, and 1, 7. So the Infinity Stone, the number 1 Infinity Stone, the Mind Stone says, guess a number. If any opponents are holding that number, defeat their cards, right? So what you do is it's the same as number 1, but everybody is accountable now. Thanos is attacking everybody. And you could say anything. He knows he's guessing somewhere between 1 and 6. He can look at cards that are out on the table to try to figure out that guess. All right. So I stacked this one wrong, so we'll just kind of flip like this. So then we have number 2 for Thanos, right? Corvus Glaive, right? And it says, choose an opponent. If they're holding a 3 or lower, defeat their card. So number 2, you choose an opponent out here. And you basically say, I'm playing Clovis. If you're holding a 3 or lower, you're defeated. If that card's defeated, lose a point, right? Collectively, they lose a point. All right, so number 2, for the Infinity Stone, says choose an opponent if they're holding a 3 or higher. So Clavis is 3 or lower. Soul Stone is 3 or higher. Same thing, you get to defeat the card. All right, so number 3, Black Dwarf. You may fight another opponent. This is exactly like the hero card, right? Let's see if we can, I feel like it's not focusing well. So there's Black Dwarf. You can fight another card. Same thing, share your cards secretly between you and that player, and whoever wins puts their card down. If no one wins in a fight, you both get to keep your card. So you also have that. If you tie even with the power tokens, say you both had 2 power tokens and a 6 card, you both tie and it doesn't matter. All right, so 3, the Space Stone. This one, you may fight up to 2 different opponents. So this one's 1 opponent, Space Stone is 2 opponents. And you fight each opponent separately. So if I go after 1, I fight them first, win or lose. If they lose, they put the card down and draw a new card. If they win, I have to put my card down. I draw a new card, right? Thanos draws a new card. Then you can move to the next person. Even if they win, you still get to fight the other person too. And you play through the same thing. So you just get to fight 2 people. Now, number 4, right? Everyone's favorite, Proxima Midnight, right? Or maybe it's the favorite name. Take 1 power token. So she allows you to grab 1 power token from the middle. Just like this number 4 for the heroes, except for the heroes, it's give to other people. All right, so the Infinity Stone, Power Stone for number 4. Take 3 power tokens. So with this one, instead of 1, you get to grab 3 power tokens for Thanos, making him extremely powerful. All right. So 5, Ebony Maw. Maybe all the names are really cool for, I can't remember, Blackguard, Night Guard, what Thanos' group is called, but Ebony Maw. Draw 1 card, then place 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. So this one allows you, when played, to draw a card from whatever your leftover card is, right? You bring it in your hand, so I guess we'd have to do it like this. You put that down, you would play it, you'd draw a card, you'd put it in your hand, you would have 4 cards, you would pick, well, you'd have 3 cards, so you played a card, you would pick a card and you would put that card at the bottom of the deck. So that's what Clovis does. Or Ebony, right? Ebony Maw, that's what Ebony Maw does, number 4. Number 5, so the Reality Stone, what you do with this one is you draw 2 cards from the deck and put 2 cards back to the bottom of the deck. So usually the Power Stone is what the number is, just much better. Then for number 6, you don't have a villain, or however you want to look at a villain card to play. All you have is the Power Stone. And what the 6 Power Stone, the Time Stone, what it tells you is copy the effect of another card in front of you. So you can copy any of these effects in front of you. You play that card, copy any of those effects, right? And then number 7 is we have Thanos. He cannot be played. You can never set Thanos down. He does nothing. He's just the card you want to keep in your hand for those fights, right? When it's time to fight people. And then if Thanos is defeated, instead of putting him down, you shuffle him in the deck. And also, if any Infinity Stone is defeated, you don't lay it down like the heroes or the villains here. You don't lay them down. They get shuffled back in your deck. And I'll explain the reason for that here in a minute. So that's what all the cards do. Now, maybe I should have done it in the beginning, but I'll do it now. The way you win this game for the heroes, the way the heroes can win this game is they have to take Thanos all the way down to 0. That's how they win. They get Thanos all the way down to 0. For Thanos to win, he can either take the heroes all the way down to 0, so he has to beat them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. He could either take them all the way down to 0, or, let's go ahead and put him right here. You say he's duking it out and stuff. He can lay out all 6 Infinity Stones. So he can do either. He could beat the heroes, get them down to 0, or lay out all 6 Infinity Stones. The other thing that can go on, and let's go ahead and see if I can do this fancy. It's going to be kind of a horrible setup. Let's get some cards thrown out here. I'm just really trying to get some Infinity Stones thrown out here. I guess this works this way. So we're getting Infinity Stones thrown out as the game goes on, and I know this is just the order that we showed everything, right? Well, we could even go like this. Let's go like this. Ebony Maw gets put down. They get put down. We're playing through the game. There's still one card here in the deck. It's kind of hard to do. There's still a card here in the deck. It's Thanos' turn. He draws a card from the deck. He looks at that card and he says, I have all 6 Infinity Stones. So when you have all 6, you just need to have them laid out and in your hand. So as soon as you do this, you snap, you throw down your hand, and you show the heroes that you have all 6 Infinity Stones, and Thanos wins. So if Thanos gets all 6 Infinity Stones laid out and in his hand, this can also happen with, now I can't remember which one, I think it's number 4, right? So the, no, that's the 3 power tokens. Where is it? Well, is it number 5? Oh, it's number 5. That's why I can't find it. Steven. So number 5, remember, you can take 2 cards from the deck and put them in your hand and get rid of 2 cards. So let's say you had these 2 cards in your hand, right? Well, I mean, I'm screwing it all up. But if after you played 5, and you ended up getting these 2 cards from the deck, even if they're the last 2 cards, right? You get them, you're like, oh, I have all the power stones. You take these 2 cards, you put them back, because the 5, the reality stone says you draw 2 and get rid of 2. You look at them, you go, I have all the power stones. You throw them down, you snap your finger, and you've won. As long as you have the power stones, Infinity Stones in your hand and on the table, then you win as Thanos. And that is how you basically play. Now you guys get to see my OCD in my head going all crazy. I want it all in order. So that's basically how you play the game. There is one difference that kind of goes on. And what that difference is there's a couple cards when you're playing this in 2-player, and it's not these 2 cards. So we're just going to put them down so I don't confuse you guys with that. There are a couple cards in the 2-player that work differently. And I got to think of them off the top of my head. I believe it's number 2 for the heroes, right? Yep. So number 2 for the heroes tells you to choose a teammate to look at a card in Thanos' hand. If it's just you and one other player, there's nobody else. So what happens is really simple. You get to look at one of the cards from Thanos' hand, right? That's how that one works. The other one is the only other one for a 2-player that's different is, I believe it's the 3 card. Yep. So the Space Stone, the 3 Infinity Stone for Thanos says you may fight up to 2 different opponents. Well, when you're playing this, it's only you and the other player when it's a 2-player game. So what happens is you go ahead and fight that player twice. And you go through the same thing. So if the player loses a card, right, they fight, let's say they lose that card, they still draw up another card, right? And then you fight them again. And then can you beat that card or not? It's kind of how that one works. Now, when it's time, if this deck runs out, which it'll run out really quick when there's a lot of players here, you have a discard pile, you shuffle all those discard piles, and you make a new deck, right? Now, for Thanos, you rarely reshuffle. And off the top of my head now, I tried to glance at it. Top of my head, I don't remember. Thanos, usually you're either going to get the 5 power stones or you're going to get beat up before you're going to need to shuffle the Thanos deck, right? So that is basically how you play, what is it, Love Letter Marvel or Infinity Gauntlet, a love letter game, however you want to look at it. But that's how you set it up. It's really easy game to play. You could play up to 6 people, and you can play it with 2 people with a couple rules changes. And I mean, the booklet for it's really short, so anything you need to know about the difference is right in there. I'm Steven with Cardboard Coalition. I'll see you later, everybody. Bye.